Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here is, to cut through all the noise and give you clear, actionable insights. And today we're on a kind of dual mission. We're unlocking the hidden language of real fluency, and at the same time, we're hacking the brain science that really drives success.
Exactly. This isn't your standard vocabulary list or, a formal grammar lesson.
Yeah.
We're giving you a toolkit with two sides. On the language side, we're looking at how real informal conversation is structured.
Yeah.
All the pauses, the idioms, the stuff textbooks just leave out.
And on the other side?
On the cognitive side, we're giving you the fundamental brain science, how to optimize focus, manage emotions, and really hit that peak performance state.
So we're equipping you with linguistic tools to sound real and the brain hacks to be a truly ultra-successful communicator and thinker. Let's just jump right in. Let's talk about the world of real talk, how people actually speak.
Right. So the first bit of linguistic territory we're exploring is called colloquialism.
Colloquialism, okay.
It's the style we use for casual, informal communication. It's really the most common way we speak, full of expressive phrases, idioms, and sometimes, the grammar isn't perfect.
Okay, so that's the language of everyday life. But is that just a polite way of saying slang? Or is there a real difference?
It's a really important distinction, actually.
Yeah.
Colloquialism is it's the big container.
Okay.
Slang is something that sits inside that. It's usually restricted to specific groups like, surfers or teenagers. Jargon is different again.
Right, like in a profession.
Exactly. Like doctors talking about tennis elbow. That's jargon. Colloquial language is the stuff that almost all native speakers use, no matter their social group.
This reminds me of trying to learn a language from a textbook. You always get those perfect, clean dialogues.
Oh, yes. The service encounter.
Speaker A says something, waits. Speaker B gives the perfect reply. It just doesn't sound real.
It absolutely doesn't. And when you actually analyze these textbook conversations against real recorded speech, the textbooks just fail.
It completely.
They miss the messiness. They miss all the messiness. And embracing that messiness is the key to sounding authentic.
So what does that messiness actually look like?
Well, for a start, look at how we handle silence and taking turns. In textbooks, pauses are super rare.
Right, they're only for dramatic effect or something.
Precisely. But in real life, speakers pause all the time while they're formulating their ideas. And these pauses can be long. Surprisingly long.
How long are we talking?
In some recordings, they've been measured up to 42 seconds.
42 seconds? That's an eternity in a conversation.
It is, and it's where the thinking happens. It totally goes against the idea that you have to be fast and perfect to sound fluent.
That's fascinating. What about the overlaps?
Right. Textbooks show this clean, one after the other turn-taking. Real life is full of what we call terminal overlap and latching.
Okay, what are they?
Latching is when one speaker starts immediately, right after the other one stops.
Oh.
Terminal overlap is when you start speaking just before the other person is completely finished.
So we interrupt each other.
Constantly. But it's not usually rude. It's just part of the flow of the conversation.
It sounds like that common advice to get rid of all your ums and ers is maybe not the best advice.
It's actually counterproductive if you want to sound native. If you speak too perfectly, you can sound, artificial.
Like a robot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Textbooks almost never have hesitation devices like or. But in real speech, they're everywhere. And they do a really important job.
Which is what?
They hold the floor for you while you think of what to say next. And for the listener, they actually help break down what you're saying into smaller, more manageable chunks of meaning.
I remember that story about the language learner in Mexico.
Yes. They learned a few of these hesitation phrases, like lo que pasa es que, which means something like what happens is that.
A filler phrase, basically.
A total filler phrase. And people kept complimenting their fluency, not realizing that these few phrases were basically the scaffolding holding their entire vocabulary together. It's a shortcut.
Okay, before we get to the practical tools, a quick question on history. When you read texts from, say, the 1700s, the language sounds so formal, so stilted. Why is that?
It's a mix of things. First, there's a selection bias. The only people whose writing survived were from the highly educated classes.
Okay, that makes sense.
And formal language is always more conservative. It changes more slowly. Plus, the educated classes were deliberately adding tons of words from Latin and Greek.
Why? To sound smarter.
To differentiate themselves, to mark themselves as elite. It gave their writing what you could call an undemocratic character.
So what we hear as old and poetic was really just the elite trying to keep other people out.
In a way, yes. So to master modern real talk, we need functional, current tools. Which brings us right to phrasal verbs.
Phrasal verbs, absolutely essential.
They are non-negotiable for colloquial mastery. If you want to sound authentic, you have to use them.
So instead of a long list, let's just do some high utility ones. For example, if I want to delay something, I could say, I will delay the meeting.
You could, but a fluent speaker would almost always say, I have to put off the meeting.
Put off, right?
And if you need someone to wait, you don't say, please wait momentarily. It's always, can you hang on a minute or just a hold on?
Okay, great. What about travel? If I'm starting a trip.
You set off or set out.
Yeah.
If you go on a vacation, you manage to get away for a few days. And when you get to a new city, you look around.
Or look around. Yeah, so much more concise.
Exactly.
Let's do a few for shopping and money. Quick fire.
Okay. You pay off a debt. You run out of coffee. You try on clothes before you buy them.
And if they don't fit,
you take them back to the shop. These are just baked into everyday language.
Perfect. Now, for a bit of flavor, let's touch on some British colloquialisms. They're so expressive.
They really are. And knowing them gives you a huge advantage in that context. If you're really tired, you're knackered.
Knackered. Love it. And if you're happy,
you're chuffed.
Yeah.
If you're really disappointed, you're gutted. And if you have no money at all, you are completely skint.
And what about that word for emphasis you hear all the time?
Bloody, that's a bloody brilliant idea. And for fillers, you hear in it all the time, which is just short for isn't it?
And insults.
Oh, yeah. You might hear get for an unpleasant idiot or mug for a fool. Using those words shows you're deep in the colloquial register.
Okay, so we've covered the social, the output side of things, but now we need to shift gears because the best language tools are useless if the engine driving them, your brain, isn't running properly. We're going from external communication to internal machinery.
And that transition is so critical. If your brain is in a state of chaos, your language will show it. So our cognitive journey starts the second your alarm goes off.
That transition from sleep.
From deep delta wave sleep into the more focused states, alpha and theta. We need to manage that transition smoothly.
And the big mistake is jumping straight into high beta, the stress state.
Exactly. We want to avoid that huge beta spike first thing. So non-negotiable step number 1, get sunlight. As soon as you can, get outside or near a bright window.
Why is that so important?
It activates your suprachiasmatic nucleus. That's your body's master clock. It sets your entire circadian rhythm for the day. You're sending a chemical signal that the day has started.
Okay, step 1 is sunlight. What about the other huge morning habit? Coffee.
Delay it. That's step 2. Avoid caffeine for at least the first hour. Your brain is already making cortisol its own natural stimulant when you wake up. If you dump caffeine on top of that, you just shoot straight into that high-stress beta state. Gives you anxiety, not smooth energy.
That's a huge change for a lot of people. Okay, let's talk about the brain's geography. We have the lower brain, the brainstem.
For basic survival, yeah. And the limbic system, the emotional center. It's always scanning for threats, generating self-doubt.
But then we have the prefrontal cortex, the PFC.
And this is the key. The PFC is your executive function. Planning, progress, logic. Your actual progress in life is directly tied to how strong your PFC is.
So a strong PFC lets you stay calm under pressure.
Exactly. Peak performers remain undisturbed inside, even when there's chaos outside. A weak PFC means you're just reacting to your limbic system all day.
So how do we build that PFC power? How do we get into those deep alpha and theta states for learning?
4 main techniques. First one is focus. You need to build good beta for problem solving. A classic exercise is trait hack, just focusing intently on an object like a candle flame for a few minutes. It's like a workout for your attention muscle.
And for the deeper states, alpha and theta.
That's where meditation comes in, or guided listening. Alpha is that awake but relaxed state. Theta is that state right before you fall asleep, which is amazing for learning and creativity.
And if meditation is hard?
You can find music with binaural beats designed to help your brain produce those theta waves.
Okay, so focus and meditation. What's next?
Challenge your brain constantly. If you always take the same route to work or do the same workout, your brain gets into a traffic jam. You're not building new circuits.
So introduce novelty.
Yes. Learn an instrument. Change your workout. Take a different route. It stimulates neuroplasticity.
And then for final technique.
Purpose. The brain runs on meaning. You have to attach meaning to what you're doing. If you can link your daily habits to a larger purpose, your brain rewards you with motivation.
That's a great framework. Now, one last area I want to touch on, which is fascinating, emotional processing. Specifically, when something intense happens, like a breakup, Do men and women's brains really handle that pain differently?
There are slight anatomical differences, yes, but the big differences come from brain chemistry and conditioning. Think about the bonding hormones.
Okay, how does that play out?
In a relationship, women often have a higher investment of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, early on. So when a breakup happens, the pain is processed immediately and very intensely.
Right.
For maybe 6 to 8 months, it's acute. Crying, sadness, it affects their work. But because the pain is processed, they get to resolution faster.
And for men?
Men tend to have lower bonding hormone investment early on. They rely more on testosterone, which pushes them towards action, towards escape.
So they just busy themselves.
They busy themselves, they avoid it. The real emotional hit often doesn't come for 6, maybe 12 months. It's delayed. It hits later when they start making comparisons or that fear of missing out kicks in.
So the pain comes, it's just on a different schedule.
Exactly. And understanding that is huge for social intelligence.
So no matter when the pain hits, what's the universal tool for dealing with it?
It's a simple formula. ABC. A is for awareness. Just recognize the emotion. Don't judge it. B is for breathing. Your breath is the bridge to your mind. Slow your breathing and you slow down the emotional cascade of thoughts.
And C?
C is for commitment. Commitment to your positive daily habits, reinforcing those healthy brain circuits you're building with your PFC work.
A powerful, practical path. So we've gone from hesitation devices all the way to theta waves.
And to pull it all together, mastering the messy reality of language gives you social fluency. Mastering your brain's alpha and PFC states gives you cognitive efficiency. The combination, that's the toolkit for an ultra-successful communicator.
And I think the most hopeful part of all this is that your brain isn't fixed. It can change, and it can change quickly.
Absolutely. The neurons that fire together, wire together,
Yeah.
your brain is ready to be rewired by you.
So as you head into your week, here's a thought to take with you. Considering that our neural pathways fire together and wire together, what one small repetitive habit, maybe it's your daily commute, what you watch, or an old limiting belief you tell yourself, what one habit are you ready to challenge this week to start deliberately rewiring your brain for peak performance?